Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I will be your host today. My name is Lucio. I'm here with the product marketing team at Katalon, and I have today Lei, our director of product management for TrueTest and all the amazing AI things that we're doing at Katalon. And I also have Philip Becker, our senior product manager for Katalon Studio, and he has a set of updates to share with you today. So before we get started, a couple of things that I want to run by the audience. If by any chance you need to leave, which we hope is not the case, this is going to be recorded and will be available on demand on katalon.com/webinars later today. In addition to that, if you have any questions, we will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, but please don't wait until then to ask any questions that you may have. The chat window is completely open for you to go ahead and make comments, establish a conversation with the rest of the audience, or drop in there anything that you may want to have clarification on. Also, I encourage you to use the Q&A button in the Zoom interface, and that way we can capture your information. And if we cannot get to your answer or to give you an answer, we can follow up via email after the webinar. And all the links and additional resources will be also shared with you via email after the webinar, as well as a recap of these sessions. So please keep an eye on your email for more information. With that said, today we're going to discuss Katalon Studio 10.2 updates. And we have a bunch of stuff that Philip is going to share with you. Also, Lei bring us some cool updates that have been added to TrueTest in the last few weeks. And last but not least, we will have the Q&A. Well, this is my time to give you the control. Who's going first? It's Philip, right?
Yeah, it's me.
All righty, Philip.
Control?
I can give you, or I can run the slides for you. Either way.
You can run the slides. That works.
Let's do it.
All right, next slide. Okay, cool. So for 10.2, we've continued adding more features to StudioAssist chat. The big theme is improving the project context, meaning the quality of the answers that it returns. So the way to do that with almost every LLM is giving it more information. So we're doing that automatically now for 10.2, where it knows your object repository. So it gives you, when you ask it to create test scripts, it knows what actually exists. You can attach files to it, which is very useful. Like custom keywords you can be attaching to it, the previous files that you created, so it will leverage them. And it now has the current tabs context. So whatever you currently have open, it'll understand what's there. So this helps you in many, many ways. It reduces the time to writing those long detailed prompts and telling it which object that you have to use. Makes it a lot more flexible. It's more normal and natural. And ideally, it saves you time, right? That's the whole point. The StudioAssist chat is supposed to save you time whenever you have questions. So we can go to the next slide and we'll show a quick demo of it. So here you do need to have it enabled. We ship it by default in the enterprise version with the Katalon AI service, or you can connect to your own LLM. Here's just an example of it using the object repository, since you now intentionally omitted the objects there. But it still was able to find the different objects, and we're going to prove it by copy pasting this out, putting it into a new test case and running it here in just a second. But this was definitely the most asked feature to give it the more context. To make sure everything is running. So makes it nice and easier. And then we're going to go to the next item here. Let's see, should start in just a second. Well, actually, we can skip a little bit ahead because we're just going to go to the file one. Oh, there it is. Current tab focus and the file one. So here it's just going to tell you when there is the current file, and you do need to make sure that it's checked. Sometimes you may not want that current context to throw it off, so you can always uncheck it. And here in a second, we will also go into the new file attachment, which I guess we could skip a little bit ahead. Now we're about to show it, I think. There it is. Yeah. So this is just us adding the custom keywords. Now, one thing to note is we do plan on just sending custom keywords soon as well. But the upload file attachment is very useful for other things too. Like you can um, create your own data files and items like that, or feed the data files into it, feed all kinds of stuff into it. Sky's the limit. But for some of the things like custom keywords, we're going to make that a default, similar to current tab. Yeah, that covers the big picture items of StudioAssist chat. There are other improvements that we've done, which you can check the release notes, but those are the top 3. So we can go to the next slide. Next slide. Can you just rerunning?
Next one after this or this one?
This is the same slide. It's just the loop of the video.
Got it.
There we go. Cool. So secure storage. This is a much better way of keeping your secrets secret. The protected global variables, it's a way to, it basically changes the global variables to make them more secure. In terms of the security that we're talking about is when you take your project file and you send it to somebody else, if you use protected global variables, it won't send the value of the variable. So it's already parameterized. You've already parameterized it in all your scripts, but if they don't know those secrets, then they'll have to pull them from 1Password or wherever you pull your secrets from and input it themselves. So the sensitive values are going to be stored locally on your machine, but not in your project files or not somewhere in, you're not going to push them out with when you do a git init into your repo. The one thing to note is that they are stored encrypted on your machine based on your system credentials. So if you go to a different system, you will need to re-input them because it's.
Is it me or we lost Philip?
Okay. Yeah, we
We lost Philip. All right. So in that case, let's since I don't know how long that's going to be, can we jump into the TrueTest updates and then we'll get back to. Oh, Philip is back. All right, Philip, we got you back.
Can you hear us? Do you?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Loud and clear. We were about to jump into Mile's updates, but sorry, we lost you for about 20 seconds. So you may want to do a quick recap of where you were at here.
Yep. We'll see where I was at. Basically, it keeps it nice and secure, makes it where you don't accidentally share secrets, and you can overwrite it during execution. Let's go to the next slide, and I'll show you. They're doing a lot of construction in my neighborhood, and internet's always up and down. So here we have the G site URL, which we made it a protected variable. Locally, you can still see the value, but when you share this file, it wouldn't be there and it won't show up in any of the logs or the reports. So that's the point of it. And all you have to do is click that checkbox in the global variables, and it makes it encrypted. It's not a masking; it's a real encryption. But just again to note, if it's on your own system, there's ways to get it out. It's not there to protect the actual user of the system. Like you already have access to that password since you're the one that input it. But once you share it or go into different environments, that's where they would have to re-input the password field. And again, in KRE, when you execute this through command line, you can override that because in practice, the QA environment you probably have access to, the secrets are probably stored. But once you go into the CI/CD, that's probably a different person that has to set that up. So that's the whole point of it. All right, we can go to the next slide. We're looping. There you go. So we just did it. Actually, you saw it in the previous one. We did a new HTML test report, more modern, pretty. Added a whole bunch of customer requests into it to make sure that you see the information that you guys wanted to see. Makes it easier to summarize information. It shows the logs, and it also loads faster and can be way bigger without any issues. So it helps you by giving the full picture without having to switch between different files or reports. It's a lot easier to filter failed tests and debug info quickly. And it's, again, way faster since we're doing lazy loading inside of it. So we can show it in the next slide. And you can disable this. It's enabled by default, but you can disable it. So this is the new report that we see. It's the local report, HTML report. We are planning on changing the other reports to match it. So the PDF report and the email report to match it. And we're going to keep doing more and more improvements to reporting forever. So if you have any requests, make sure to open a feature request. And one thing to note, we just passed it, but that line at the top that's green and red, that's going to be however many failed test cases you have. So that bar at the top, well, we keep jumping. Just scroll a little bit higher where it's half green, half red. That is supposed to change depending on if you have passed, failed, error, incomplete, or skipped. So that's normal. Cool. We can go to the next one. I think I have one more slide. Yeah, so some other improvements, Recorder Plus, which is going to be the future iteration of the recorder. It's in beta. You can turn it on. It has improvements for execution so that it works against Flutter apps and some Canvas out elements. It also works with complex Shadow DOM AUTs. So use Recorder Plus, give us feedback. We're going to try to GA in January with a new interface. And then we have some mobile testing improvements where we can take screenshots a bit better with a new keyword. We now are able to press the home button during mobile recording sessions, and you can add custom remote desired capabilities in the mobile recorder in Spy. So it's not just setting up one remote and having to change it for every interface. If you've already set up all those custom desired capabilities, you can leverage them in the recorder in Object Spy. And then for people that need to have Kerberos authentication, that is now available inside of the proxy settings. And we've also done a few improvements with the Azure DevOps integration so that you can link multiple test cases across the different test plans. One thing I would say, a couple of things I would say here. If you guys try the Recorder Plus, give us information, feedback, because we want to make sure that that's very good when we GA it. Can you still hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
And if you guys do use Kerberos for proxy authentication, please give us feedback on that too, since that's still in beta. One other thing, since this is my last slide, we are bringing back desktop testing in July as a beta. If anybody's interested in that, let me know. I can drop you a release candidate soon for in the next few weeks to try out. And we're planning to get that out of beta in like September, October. All right. That's it for me. I'll pass it over to you, Lucio, and my.
Thank you, Philip. Would you mind sharing on the chat an email address where they can send you feedback or the request or the link that the audience can use to provide the feedback that you're requesting?
Sure.
Thank you so much. All right, we are about to talk about TrueTest overviews and updates. The time is yours.
Can I just share my screen because I will be doing a live demo anyway?
Oh, you're right. Absolutely. Let me stop the share, and you are in control.
All right. Let me share my screen, and let me know if you can see my screen.
We can see your entire monitor.
This one, right? Okay. The slideshow.
Yeah.
All right. So, hello everyone, this is Miley from TrueTest, and today I will be present to you the latest features of TrueTest. Given that it has been a while since the last time we had a webinar about TrueTest, I will give you a brief recap about what TrueTest is and how it can help you before we jump into the latest enhancements to it. Okay. So what is Katalon TrueTest? Katalon TrueTest is an AI-powered solution that will capture true user activities and generate automated test cases based on those user activities. And then it can also maintain those automated test cases. You can add those test cases as part of your regression test suite as normal. What you can use it for? If you deploy TrueTest as part of your pre-production environment, then it can help you to capture the manual testing activities on that environment and turn them into automation test cases. So using TrueTest, you can gain the immediate increase in automation coverage in no time. As I mentioned, after it generates the test cases, it also automatically maintain those test cases and test objects in case of the application changes. So it will help you to reduce the time that you need to maintain those automation test cases. And if you instrument TrueTest as part of your production environment and also QA environment, you will be able to identify the gap between the usage of the customers on production versus how you are testing the application on QA. And it also helps you to generate test cases to cover the gap, so you have 100% coverage on the flows that the users are using the most on production. So that is a very quick recap about what TrueTest is and what it can help you with. Here is the list of the new features we recently released to production. I will walk through this list very quickly. If you see any terms that are alien to you, no worries. I will explain further in the live demo, because I find it easier to walk through the whole workflow and introduce the new features than just talk about this one by one. So we have introduced the capability to let you configure the data tracking so that you can track data from different environments separately. So before, you had to buy several TrueTest licenses, one for each environment. But for now, you can use the same license, the same code snippet to deploy on the application, to add to the application and deploy to multiple environments, and define the data tracking environment so that TrueTest know that it will capture data from different environments and keep them in different buckets. And from those sources of data, you can generate user journey maps from each environment. From using those user journey maps, you can see the behaviors of the users on different environments, and you can create test cases from those user flows. That is one of our major capability recently released to production. And this is an AI solution, but we still want to keep the human in the loop. So we have introduced some capabilities to kind of get your feedback in a way that you will be able to rename the nodes on the user journey map. And you can also edit the flows names and description so that those artifacts are more in alignment with your expectation. If the terms are strange to you, no worries, I will show you in the live demo. Okay. So this is our demo app, right? And this is a very simple cell phone e-commerce website in which you can browse for the phones. You can view it, select the option, add it to basket, and then complete the checkout process. We deploy the same application on two environments. So this is our production environment, and this is our staging environment. We instrumented TrueTest as part of this application code and let it monitor the user activities on both environments. And we then use it to generate the user journey map on production, from the data from production. So this is how user journey map looks like, right? This is the visualization of the application under test. Each node here is one page of the application. So you can see the home page, the product category page, product detail page, cart, checkout information, shipping address, and payment info, and whatnot. The size of the nodes indicate the volume of traffic going through those pages, and the actions are the links from one node to another. So those are the actions that the user perform to go from one page to another page. If you are not happy about the names of the nodes, you can rename those because the names of the node were generated automatically using the URL patterns, and URL patterns sometimes are defined not in a very good way. It depends on the practice being applied by your development team. So you can just update those page name and nodes name with the ones that you find more friendly, more user friendly, more familiar to you. And the good thing is that after you rename those nodes, the next time when you generate a new map, if those nodes still exist in the new map, it will keep your custom name for it. So you don't need to spend multiple times updating the names wherever you generate a new map, the new map. And the map, you can rearrange the nodes and save the changes to the map. So you can just feel free to drag it around. And based on the usage pattern on that environment, TrueTest identified like 7 unique usage patterns. We call it user flows. So one flow, we have the summary, a description, the traffic category. The traffic category indicates the volume of traffic that go into that flow. So this is like how likely a new user, when they go into your application, how likely they will like follow that usage pattern and the test steps. So the names, the summary, and the description here are generated using AI. And as I mentioned, sometimes AI may have some hallucination, and this is normal because it only has the information about the test steps here as well as the description of your application under test. It may not have like your standards of defining the test case name and description. So you can edit the flow for like have a better naming as well as the better description to fit to your expectation. You can only edit the flow names and description before generating the test case. For this specific flow, we already have a test case generated for it, so you cannot generate update those information. The idea is that you need to review the flow and to find when you find it useful, you will generate the test cases, and updating the names and the description will make the name of the test case follow that name, the new name that you give it. That is a new feature that we introduced in the latest release. And the other thing is that when we choose those flows to generate the test cases, the test cases will be will be committed to your Git repository, and you can check out from your Git repository in your local machine, and you can open them using Katalon Studio, right? So for Katalon Studio, the test cases created by TrueTest will be placed under AI generated folder and under the corresponding environment. So I generated the map and generated the test cases for the production environment. So those test cases are placed under folder called production. So this is part of the new feature that I talked earlier. This is like separating the environments that TrueTest capture and generate test cases for. For each test case generated by TrueTest, it will have the script like this. For each test step, it will have the comment to explain what it does for each test step, and then test script. In order for you to execute those test cases, you may need to provide the data if that flow requires some data. And test cases generated by TrueTest are designed in the way that all the data are extracted and stored in variables. So you can buy the variables value in the variable tab here if it needs some variables. This one doesn't need anything. So, but for the test case number 2 here, you can see here. Oh, no. I choose the ones that do not need any value then. Okay, maybe this one. Yeah. So this one, for example, it is the search of the phones by maximum price. It needs you to input the maximum price. So you can just edit the value here and execute a test case. You can also set up TrueTest to buy the values in Excel spreadsheet as well. Okay, so let me talk about the feature to separate the environments. So as I mentioned, we deploy the same application code in the 2 environments, right? This is the production and this is staging. We're using the same code snippet. After it receives the data from those environments, you can see the data tracking status here with the exact URL and the activation date. last data received date. That is when you know that the data is available on the corresponding requirements, the environments, so that you can start generating user journey maps for those environments. When you click on the Generate New User Journey Map button, you will have an option to select the data tracking environment. So you can either choose like production or staging in this case, and select the time period that you're interested in learning the user behaviors for, and then click Generate. When you generate the maps, it will be listed in this table with a column for indicating the data tracking environment that it uses the data from, right? And you can have like multiple user journey maps, multiple for one environment, right? But for each environment, you can have only one active user journey map. So you have like a total number of active maps similar to the total number of the environments that you have TrueTest track the data from. So in my case, we have like one active for staging and one active for production. And if I look at the map from staging, you can see that it is very similar to the map I have on production. I arranged the notes here more nicely for sure. But the number of pages and number of actions are different because I interacted with those pages differently. So there are only 7 pages interacted during my sections on staging, whereas there are like 9 pages here. Let's see if we can find the pages missing. So we have home, product category, just from product detail page, cart, checkout info, shipping address, payment info, and thank you, and then about, right? I can follow the same like home, product category, product detail page, cart, checkout info, shipping address, but we don't have like the payment and thank you page. So those are the 2 pages missing. You may tell me that, oh, this is just a very simple application, so it's easy for me to eyeball the differences, right? But how about the real situation when we have like hundreds of pages or thousands of pages and actions? How can a human possibly like look into the map and figure out what is missing by ourselves, right? Um, is there a way that we can overlay the 2 maps together to quickly spot out the gaps? And is there a way that TrueTest can help me to generate test cases to cover those gaps to make sure that I have 100% coverage on the usage actions on the production? The answer is yes. That is the exact scope of what we are building right now. So in the next release, we will have a new feature called Test Gap Analysis, in which we will be overlaying the 2 maps together and highlight just the gap for you so that it will be easier for you to review what is missing from like what is being used on production. This is how it is tested on the testing environment, right? To make sure that no popular flows being used by the users are not tested in the testing environment. So this is the feature that is kind of the foundation for the gap analysis, which is the most anticipated feature right now. Yeah, so that is basically the highlights of the latest enhancement for our TrueTest. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Yeah.
Thank you. My quick question, if I may add, how that process that you just show us, where we're seeing the journey maps, and you also mentioned that you may wonder, hey, but this would be easy for me to eyeball. For contrast, how would this entire process would look like if I didn't have to test in my testing pipeline? Can you give us like a quick 1 or 2 minute overview of how this entire, like how much involved this process would be if we didn't have the help of AI in TrueTest to help us?
Okay. So without TrueTest, right? The only way that there are several ways actually. There are several ways that you can have kind of an understanding about how the users are using your application on production. You can use the product data analytics tools to monitor the action of the users and see some sort of similar to this, but the tool being used by product manager specifically to make sure that the user flow through the system per design, and if there is any gap there. But that tool, you don't have like you will not have the test cases generated for those flows. You will not be able to overlay the map between like real users and what you are testing, to see the gap. And there are other telemetry tools like Datadog, but that is more about a back-end metrics. And those tools like Datadog or product data analytics tools and generally not available to the testers. So when we design TrueTest, we have the testers in mind, and we want to make it the most useful for the testing team to clearly understand about how the users are using the system and what is missing, how can they make sure that they test the right stuff, right? So by looking into the flows identified from the users on production, you know exactly how the system being used. So you can choose to use test cases from TrueTest. That is the whole purpose. But you can also revise your testing plan to make sure that you prioritize only based on the usage. Lucio, did I answer your question?
I believe you did. Yes. Thank you so much. That was great. Alrighty. So does that? I believe we covered everything at this point, right? Excellent. And just to make it clear, TrueTest is available now. If you want to read more about it, you can go. I actually put the link on the chat. So go to katalon.com/TrueTest, and you will see there all the information about what is it, how it works with Studio as well, and a bunch of other stuff that you may be interested in reading. Before we go, I want to go ahead and open it for questions. I also believe we have one of our teammates in the background is going to launch a poll for you to, if you want to share your opinion in a few moments. In the meantime, I know we are answering some questions in the background, so thank you, Philip, for doing that. There's a question on TrueTest. Are you able to see it? Do you want to take a stab at that?
Yeah, so that is a question from Dimitrios. I'm sorry if I cannot pronounce your name correctly. With TrueTest, can we record in a project and the same scripts run again to a project B with different names of labels or different view IDs? So I wonder what you mean by project. Project A and B, are they like project grouping the work on the same application? So if it is the same application, then you can track and generate test cases, and then run on the different environments, make sure that the data are available on the other environment. So Dimitrios, if you can expand a little bit more by what you mean by project. Is it like different applications or the same application but different projects, meaning different tasks or different scope? You can just like chat there and then I can follow up. But if those projects are testing the same application, then you can suddenly capture the test cases and then capture the activities and generate test cases and run on different projects. Given that you make sure that the data is available, and if like those projects or those environments are using the same version of the application or not. If they are using the same different version of the application, then there is a chance that those test cases will fail by intention. And yeah. And there is I hope that I answer your question. If you need any more clarification, please like enter a message to follow up. And then we have another question from, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your name. Hello about TrueTest. How do we use TrueTest in the sensitive data accounting? Oh, a good question. We got that question a lot. So we have like different layers to protect the sensitive data. So PAI data will be automatically excluded from being tracked. So any sensitive data like user ID, username, password, or emails, or physical address, phone number, or any kind of ID, TrueTest will automatically recognize those and will never track those. Those information will never ever leave your user's browser. And when our engine receives the data, it will scan again using Amazon Macy to make sure that there is nothing like sensitive remained. And we have like periodical scan through the system to make sure that there is no sensitive data in captured or stored. And there are custom fields that you can use. You can use a custom CSS class to add into the input elements that you don't want TrueTest to track. So it's in your control. And there is an option to not track any input at all. I hope that answers your question. And there is another one. Is TrueTest capable of mapping out data flow in a data sensitive environment where client data security is almost priority? I hope I answered it earlier with the other question. Yeah, we treat data privacy very seriously, and we have extra like mechanism to make sure that we do not capture or process any sensitive data at all. Okay. And if yes, how can the security of the data can be validated? We can export the data for you to review. And we can share with you the report from our Amazon and Macy scan. And we also have like internal audit from our InfoSec team. So if it matters very much to the customer, you can certainly request for those reports. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, Mai. I'm going to ask you the same thing that I asked Philip. Is there an email address where the audience can reach out to the TrueTest team if they have any questions or feedback?
Very good question.
I feel like I put you on the spot, so
No, but you can like you can reach out to me directly for now. So this is my email, Katalon. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and I promise that next time we have like a group email.
sounds good.
Can we enable for trial period for TrueTest? This is like guided trial, meaning that if you are interested in trying out TrueTest, you need to contact sales, and then we will start the POC process in which our team will be guiding you through the process. And in order to request the trial, there is a button on contact sales on the TrueTest homepage on katalon.com. So if Lucio, if you can quickly just share where that would be great. Thank you so much. And then how does TrueTest distinguish between intentional changes in the web application and unintended ones? How do you fit it with new requirements, and who is responsible for maintaining and updating that input? What do you mean by intentional changes and unintended ones? So I would assume that what you mean is that like if those flows like features work as designed, meaning that you have introduced some new changes to the application, right? And there are some bugs, right? That is actually a very good question. So if the flows go smoothly, meaning that the user can interact with your features to complete the flow without any issue, then those will be captured and generated by TrueTest as a test case. Whether or not it is like designed by intention or not, TrueTest will not be able to understand it, like to know it, right? Because it doesn't have context out to your system. So this is based on usage activities, not the requirement. So providing it with requirements for now doesn't help. But eventually, the future look like we will we will consider adding adding a functionality let the tester to up their requirements, and maybe when it look into the data it's captured, it can kind of flag, right? Like, hey, this flow doesn't look right. It doesn't look like the what is designed, and it kind of flag, but it will never be certain for sure. But that's a very interesting idea. Thank you so much. For now, it just captures the activities happened on certain environments and spit out the test cases for you. That is very good idea. Thank you. So Cheyenne, you have a licensed version of Katalon and you really want to implement TrueTest as soon as possible. That's wonderful to hear. So please contact your account manager or contact ourselves on the website to request a trial for TrueTest. Is TrueTest capable to work with shadow elements? Yes, TrueTest support closed Shadow DOM objects. It doesn't support open Shadow DOM objects for now, but it supports closed Shadow DOM objects. Our entire testing team was looking forward for a demo from Katalon's end. Oh, that's awesome. So Cheyenne, could you share your company's name if you're comfortable with it?
Or we can look up the records, Mai, and then I'll follow up internally. Gamut. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, we will follow up internally, Cheyenne, and then we'll coordinate with our team and your team so we can schedule demo and conversations. Appreciate the interest. All right, so I think that is it for today, unless there is anything else that you, Mai, or Philip want to add. We're good? Alrighty, so let's go ahead and give the audience 15 minutes back of the day. Mai, thank you so much. It was wonderful. Philip, I appreciate all the help and also the update. And to the team in the background, thank you for answering questions. And to everyone in the audience, thank you so much for your time and for being here. We will again post these on demand on katalon.com/webinars. We will follow up with you via email for those who wanted to see demos and the rest of the or clarify your things on TrueTest or Studio. And stay tuned for more webinars and more product roundups on the Katalon platform. Until then, please stay safe, stay healthy, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.